We are enjoying the drive already. We're maybe 20 minutes or so from Yellowstone, and it's completely different than Yellowstone. That's what's so crazy up here. But what we want to do is as we drive today, we're just kind of reflecting on some things, and we're talking about kind of the top 10 things that we experienced in Yellowstone or that we saw. It's what we enjoyed about Yellowstone.
And it's going to be hard to even narrow it down to 10 things.
But we want to highlight it. So if you've never been to Yellowstone, or if you have been to Yellowstone, we want to hear what your favorite things about Yellowstone are. We're going to share our top 10, and hope you enjoy it.
We are the Rhodes Rules family, and these are our travel adventures. We invite you along with us to explore our amazing world, discover your own passions, and inspire your own dreams of travel and discovery. Along the way, we will share tons of information to help you plan and prepare for your own adventures. And always remember, life is a journey. You hold your map. Let's go wonder.
So our top 10, just to let you know, is really not in any particular order. So it's not like our favorite thing at the top, the least favorite thing at the bottom. It's just the 10 things that we enjoyed. First of all
the waterfalls. The top of the waterfall list was the upper and lower falls of the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. It's an early morning. What is it, like 30 degrees? We came to visit the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. Like, we could have just stood there all day and watched that. Then there were so many different lookout points to see it from all different
so you can go up, you can see it
viewpoints.
from down, you can see it from down the canyon toward the canyon.
From the brink.
You can go both falls, you can go to the brink. It's a little bit of a walk. The lower, it's like a 600-foot drop down, and then you got to walk back up the path.
But every lookout point was totally worth it.
I mean, the payoff was absolutely amazing, because you're literally feet from where the water crests over and brinks over into the canyon. You can feel the energy of the water going over the brink. That's what I love about waterfalls. There's just something about the air that comes off of it, the mist in the air.
And they're just mesmerizing to watch.
It's one of the most amazing.
Love it.
You know, I know we say it in our videos a lot, but you gotta get out and see stuff like this. It is absolutely amazing. We didn't see all the waterfalls because we didn't see the whole park.
Every time we saw a sign for a fall, we
kind of addicted to them. I don't know. We just made a pit stop in Butte, Montana. We stopped at Walmart, loaded up on groceries for the next week.
Yep, the next week.
I
always try to do grocery pickup. I always look at our route and find a Walmart along the way.
And we've got enough room on our rig to basically have
just about
1
a
week.
To stock up for a week.
Yeah.
So we did pretty good.
But anyway, we want to hit another one of our top 10s for Yellowstone.
If you ever go to Yellowstone, and if you ever watch anything about Yellowstone or hear anything about Yellowstone, you always hear about the wildlife.
Our quest for the last, 2 or 3 weeks is we want to see some freaking bears.
We want to see some bears.
We've not seen one bear.
We haven't seen any bears yet.
A week in the Tetons, a week in Yellowstone.
And we stopped and asked a park ranger yesterday, where can we find the bears? And he told us that this time of year they start to head up into the mountains, I guess getting ready for the winter. The best time to come to see bears, he said, is around May, June.
We love the wildlife in Yellowstone.
The bison were abundant.
And real quick about the bison, so it's hilarious because we did the same thing until you see the herd. You don't really understand this, but you come into the park, you're driving through, you'll see one bison right by the road. He'll be walking, or he'll be up in the trees, laying down or rolling in some dirt.
Yeah.
And he'll be all by himself. And then, a mile down the road, you'll see another one. You may see two. Where you've got to go in Yellowstone, if you really want to see the bison, is Lamar Valley.
So we have found ourselves in another wildlife jam. Bison tend to, see there's one about to hop in the road.
He's right outside my door. You see?
Very common in Yellowstone to have to wait on the bison to cross the road and then cross the road again and again and again and again right in front of you.
And I don't know this, but I think the etiquette is you let the animals have their way. You just be patient, wait. But I think there were some Jake legs up here honking their horn and blowing by and scaring them, which I don't think is a very cool thing to do. You know, we're in their territory.
This is their home.
You know, we're probably inconveniencing them more than they're inconveniencing us. So just let them do their thing. We're in Lamar Valley, which is in the northern part of the park.
If you want to see bison, we can almost guarantee you'll see them here.
I mean, I couldn't imagine there.
Herds and herds and herds.
Probably thousands of them out here. I mean, it's just astonishing how many there were.
You go look for bison, go to Lamar Valley to see the elk, Mammoth Springs. There's also some near the west entrance when you're coming into the park.
There's a couple of different herds over there.
What else did we see? Oh, a trumpeter swan.
Oh,
we had never seen a swan.
They're massive birds.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
Kind of hard to wrap your mind around until you actually see them.
So pretty. And the pronghorn?
Pronghorn deer, white-tailed deer. They're abundant all over the place. Squirrels and chipmunks. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Lots of birds. I mean, for us, we don't have magpies in Louisiana. So we were kind of amazed by the magpies. They're really
we saw these birds, and Caleb actually researched to find out what kind of birds they are.
The crows
are huge.
I mean, they're like 3 or 4 times the size of the crows back in Louisiana. I don't know what if it's a different species or what, but they're massive crows. But the wildlife.
Go see the wildlife, and if you love wildlife, go see them in Yellowstone. Number 3 on our top 10 for Yellowstone is...
It's pretty much what you go to Yellowstone for.
Kind of what it's known for.
The geothermal features and geysers, the springs, the vents, the mud pots, the steam shafts. I don't even know what they're all called because there's...
I mean, we spent a whole day in the lower and the upper geyser basins. And of course, the most popular, the one that everybody has heard about, is Old Faithful. From Old Faithful, there's an awesome trail. It's all boardwalk or paved that goes around to, I don't even know how many geysers.
I mean, there are literally hundreds.
Yeah, there's several geysers, not just Old Faithful, that still will erupt. They give you the expected time period when they predict that it will erupt. We saw Old Faithful, and we also saw the Daisy Geyser.
We timed it.
We just happened to go up there, and it was time for it to spew.
Phil, if you're gonna spew into this.
So we saw it.
It was
a neat one.
I would recommend if you're gonna go to Old Faithful, I would start there. Go early into the park.
We went very early.
Yeah, go straight to Old Faithful. Watch the first eruption of the day, and then make your way to some.
We actually got to see Old Faithful twice because we saw it first thing in the morning, where hardly anybody was there, and then we did the little hike around the boardwalk. By the time we made it back, it was time for it to erupt again.
So as you drive through the park, there are tons of different geysers. I mean, there's no way we could see all of them. We had a limited amount of time while we were here, so we tried to hit the ones that were next to the road.
Another one of our favorites was Barrel Spring. It was just one on the side of the road. We passed by and there were always a ton of people there. One day we drove by the pullout, there was nobody there, no cars there, so we pulled over.
It's like a massive pressure cooker letting off steam constantly.
Just constant, just loud.
Number 4, the sunsets. When we were coming back across Lamar Valley, we rounded a corner, and I mean, we hit it just in the nick of time to catch a
spectacular sunset.
sunsets are amazing regardless of where you are. But the sunset that we caught across Lamar Valley, it really was a spectacular, and it was unexpected. I mean, we know the sunsets every day, obviously, but just the way we were traveling, we weren't sure if we were going to get a good angle of it. Definitely highly recommend catching a sunset in Yellowstone.
For sure.
I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Yes. Moving on to number 5 is an early morning drive. If you can get in the park early enough for a sunrise, you would not be disappointed. We got up one morning, one of our favorite days in the park. It was actually our first day in the park. We were in the park about 6:20 in the morning. We didn't actually catch the sunrise per se. It was kind of foggy that morning. The steam from the earth was just covered, like a thick fog.
It was really cool that morning, and because of the cool air and the heated vents, it was just dramatic. I mean, if you come to Yellowstone in the geyser basins like we were talking about earlier,
yeah, you're going to see the steam.
You're going to see the steam. But on a really cool, crisp morning, oh my gosh.
Like, you couldn't miss a single geyser.
You know, if you want to see some dramatic imagery with the steam and the sunrise, you got to go in the park earlier. I mean, there's multiple benefits to going earlier, but certainly the scenery that time of morning is pretty impressive.
So that was our number 5. Number 6 in our top 10 favorite things of Yellowstone are the rivers. Those rivers were the prettiest rivers I believe I've ever seen in my life.
And really, you got to think about just water in general. So it's the rivers, the streams, the lakes, all the geysers and gushers and whatever all they call the different geothermal features. They're spewing out water constantly.
Yes.
And these things, the runoff, they're all running together. Of course, there's snow melt at the very high altitudes north of there and in the park. So it is just this pristine, clear, amazing water running all over the park.
Also, you can fish in the lakes. We saw a ton of fly fishermen fishing for trout, and I guess that's what they fish for.
All along the rivers throughout. I don't know if you need a special permit to fish inside the park.
You do need a permit, so you have to check with the Parks Department for that.
We don't have that kind of gear. I would love to go back up there and do maybe a guided tour of some kind to go fly fish in Yellowstone. That would have to be an epic thing.
So that was number 6, rivers, lakes, streams, things like that.
Number 7 on our list are the picnics in Yellowstone.
The picnic spots.
Yeah, the picnic spots.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take a picnic anywhere really, but there are tons of places that you can pull out, whether you want to be on a meadow or if you want to be
overlooking a mountain, or overlooking
a river
or a lake.
There are so many different picnics that you can take, and then from a lot of the picnics there are trails that you can take. That is one of the cool things about Yellowstone, are all the places you can pull over and have picnics. So definitely plan on packing you a picnic.
Number 8 is in the northernmost part of Yellowstone. It is Mammoth Springs.
Mammoth Springs was probably one of the most unique areas that we were able to visit in the park, in that elk are right in the village, among the people, among the buildings. I mean, there's these massive bull elk and their cows that are just walking freely in the streets. We even saw a cow feeding one of her calves.
Yes. Right in the middle of the street. Stopping traffic.
As you come into Mammoth Springs,
or the Travertine Terraces, which is another cool feature at Yellowstone.
Because they're always changing. You can go any given day, you're looking at something different.
It's never the same.
Even throughout the day it changes. It's one of the most dynamic areas for change in the park.
If you do go to Mammoth Springs, they do have a boardwalk, so you can go and explore all the different springs coming out of the ground and observe all the, like little terraces, little staircases. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Mammoth Springs, go there.
Do not miss that.
One of the most exciting parts about Yellowstone, everybody doesn't get to experience, it just depends on the time that you're there. We were there for a snowfall at Yellowstone. It made our boys' whole trip, I think, to see that little bit snowfall because we're from Louisiana. We just don't get a lot of snow.
What made it unique, it was the second week of September, and it wasn't necessarily expected. If you go during the winter, they shut most of the park down. You can only enter the park by snowmobile or special vehicle because of snow. So Yellowstone gets ridiculous amounts of snow during the winter. But this was September. I mean, we were there at just the right time to go from about 65 degrees that morning to snowing that afternoon. What makes that unique is that it's kind of some of the first snows of the season before everything turns white and it really turns winter. You're seeing those first signs of winter coming in as the snow is falling and it's still fall. So just the contrast of colors it's pretty amazing to see in Yellowstone. So obviously you can't plan on necessarily seeing the snow in that kind of moment, but if you're there September, October, you've got a great chance of seeing snow while you're driving through the park and enjoying the park. And I think it's just a unique thing to be able to see that.
Yes. And last but not least, number 10.
We want to talk about the diversity of the terrain in Yellowstone. That's one of the things that just kind of astounded us. I mean, Yellowstone's huge, but it's just amazing the different terrains. I mean, you've got the valleys, you've got the rivers.
You go from the mountains to the meadows, waterfalls.
Huge cliffs overhanging. I mean, it's incredible. You've got like swampy areas. We just never realized, I guess, number one, how big it really was. Number two, just how diverse it was.
It's an ever-changing landscape from one end of the park to the other.
And can only imagine, I mean, we got to see some snow, but we didn't see it covered in snow.
I could see how different it could be in every season of the year.
Right.
I mean,
oh yeah, if you could catch when the leaves are turning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when spring is hitting and everything's coming back to life.
Any season you go.
Right. But that's one of the most striking things about Yellowstone.
That wraps up our top 10. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope that we provided some information that you can use. I would recommend you getting on the National Park website and downloading the Yellowstone Park map.
Yeah.
That way you can kind of see the different areas, because you're not going to be able to cover it all in one day. Make a good plan.
Yeah. Yellowstone is big, and it's the largest national park in the country, and if you don't plan, you'll waste a lot of time trying to figure out what you want to do.
Hope it helps, and we will see you next week, Glacier National Park.
Excited.
Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our Rhodes Rules channel. And always remember, life is a journey. You hold your map.